Yeah, let's rock and roll. So, chat, give me a sign. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Everything fine? We good? This is my first stream actually, so if it gets a bit wonky and if you see me looking all over the place, that's fine. I'm just trying to juggle my screens. All right, so for those who don't know me yet, let's get to know each other. My name is Ranko Trivkovic. I'm a freelance narrative designer, and I've been in games industry for more than 25 years in various capacities, starting from being game journalist, then board game and TTRPG designer, then game designer, producer, game director, narrative designer, all kind of things. I was a pitch mentor as well, all kind of stuff. So yeah, that's me. You might be coming here because you've been following my rants, my educational posts on LinkedIn. And Grandpa bit comes from my previous brand, I would say, name, because I was a part of a really cute community for visual novels where I realized I'm way older than everyone else, and so kids over there gave me a nickname Grandpa, so that's hence this Grandpa's Rants. So maybe you drop by my Discord server. Well, now it's our Discord server. Narrative designers gather. I'm really happy that we are over 500. And I'm exceptionally happy to see that on Discord there's really cool legends of narrative design and some of my favorite games made by these guys. But also we have a lot of graduates and people who just are interested and never really tried their hand in the industry. Maybe you've been to one of my talks. I've been more or less a regular speaker in different conferences in Europe, mostly offline, but also I did a lot of online talks. I'm gonna give one at Games Gathering soon, in 1 week or so, or 2 weeks or something like that. I'm very grateful to a lot of wonderful game designers and artists and narrative designers who actually I've been meeting all over these conferences, and thank you for being here. Also, something you didn't know about me. I'm also author of 4 books and few translations. Basically, I wrote kind of European fantasy, like Kafka Hesse style, so not like fantasy. In that field, I published an Orcish cookbook, ready in English, will be published soon, I hope, online, where monster orc is cooking fantasy creatures, and each story is kind of satiric view on our ways of how do we eat stuff. So yeah, I did traditional storytelling, but also I was teaching it. So that's actually how I switched to narrative design, because after crash and burn career as producer, I was like, wait, I don't even like doing this. I prefer telling stories. So fun fact, I've been writing all my life, like most of you do. In high school, I actually started in elementary school. So in elementary school, I made some kind of Hunger Games like story where we arrive at the school and suddenly teachers have weapons and start hunting us down. It was way before mobile phones, way before all the kind of first-person shooters and arena shooters. And kids seemed to like it, which was my only way to connect. I was like a nerdy outcast kid, and suddenly my stories are being photocopied and distributed to the school, and they demanded, for me to write, each new season, new version of the story each year, because classes may change, teachers change, and also in high school it was like super hit. So yeah, it's a fun fact. Fun fact number two. As I said, I entered the game industry as game journalist, played games, tore them apart, explained why they work or fail. Everyone was like, oh my god, you get paid to play games. Yeah, not as fun as it sounds, but still, it was a good time. And it actually landed me a role as game designer, because I was interviewing a guy, and it was like in a Hollywood movie. Like, by the end of the interview and the meeting he had with some people from the industry, he wanted to start his own studio. He turns to me and says, if you're interested, you're hired. And I was like, I'm gonna be game designer. Um, Fun fact number three, which I will not list because it's not for public, not something to be especially proud of. I sucked as game designer, mostly because I thought I know everything about game design. Later, I was somewhat successful in game design, because by that time I learned how to think in terms of iteration and algorithmical thinking and systemic thinking. So yeah, at first I was horrible. I thought I know it all. Fun fact number three, I also spent 20 years as a part-time actor in theater. It was a contemporary theater. It was my big love, and very influential period in my background. Why? Because it taught me about drama. It taught me about storytelling. It taught me a lot about storytelling. So when I started, I started first with theater, and then I started publishing, and it really helped me understand storytelling, especially non-verbal storytelling, crucial details about how audiences actually process a story, and how to guide perception of the audience, which is super important when you're making games. Although it seems like distantly connected, games are art and theater is art, but it actually is much closer than you might think, because both theater and games have this kind of cyclic, ritualistic, repeating of the core loop kind of thing. And why did I choose to highlight this fact? Because from my experience, I mean, my first talk at the conference was in Prague at GDS, and it was called "Kill Your Writer," because I realized that back then, it was 20 years, almost 30 years ago. So I realized that a lot of studios were trying to do a thing where they would invite TV writers to write for games. It failed, and then they kind of turned to novelists. It failed even harder. So I was kind of, although I am coming from a writer's background, I was really furious about how writers look at the games, and I was advocating for native narrative designers, native game writers, because I still think that if games are your medium, you can be a good narrative designer. If it's a secondary medium, if your primary medium is traditional storytelling, books, TV, movies, whatever, do that. It's difficult. It's different, totally different style, totally different skill set. If by any luck my books get to be televised, I will not be the script writer. It's something I leave to the experts in that branch. But also, if there is something to be turned into a game or a story for game, yeah, let me have it. I was born inside games almost. Started playing when there was 8-bit computers, so in the prehistory. Yeah. But why is this important? Because something needs to be teaching you about different storytelling. So maybe you come from background where you've been game master, DMing for decades. That's fine. It's not enough to make you a good narrative designer, but it's surely a good background, because You get to, you know, game design and narrative design at the same time. You get to build stories which are ongoing, non-linear, definitely not, you know, prepare too much in advance. I hope, you know, don't smother your players with linear narratives. But also, yeah, maybe you've been, you know, a lot of you guys are young enough to actually be born in a video game storytelling. So maybe you've been playing visual novels all your life and know about visual novels. Doesn't guarantee that you're going to be amazing for other genres, but it's a solid foundation. So eventually, my worlds kind of merged. My desire to make games, my desire to teach, my desire to write, and here I am doing all three at the same time. So takeaway number one, never disqualify yourself, never disregard your achievements or experience. If you have extensive experience reading comics, making comics, that's your starting point. If you have extensive experience playing games, analyzing games, doesn't mean, you know, it's not like a only qualifier, but don't disregard any of your experiences and any of your achievements, because you can use it to build upon it. So, how about you? Who are you guys? Let's see, chat, light it up. Let's see numbers. Who's narrative designer? Who's game designer? Who identifies as indie developer? Who identifies as artist? In nothing of this fit, just type in a chat. How do you identify? Maybe, you know, maybe we have some quest designers. Maybe we have some attack helicopters. Whatever. Just, you know, let me know. Let's see, quest designer, writer side, 1-1, narrative designers. Oh, a lot of narrative designers, I like it. Game writer, yeah, that's a good distinction, narrative designer and game writer. It used to be important, nowadays everyone's narrative designer. 1, 2, 3, 4, everyone, everything at the same time. Okay, indie dev, yeah, indie dev, if you're kind of indie dev, you are indie dev. Thank you guys. Keep keep lining the chat with who are you. I really, yeah, game writer is a specific role and very important one. I mean, super important. I'll touch upon that a bit later. But yeah, a narrative designer is one of those titles that kind of keeps changing. So at first everyone was game writer, and then suddenly some game writers wanted to be narrative designers, and then narrative design, which is not the same as game writing, kind of became synonym, and now a lot of people are calling themselves narrative architects, including myself. So like to distinguish further from narrative designer, I've seen in the industry, what was it called, narrative director, good one also. So we're getting more posh titles as we go along, but then again the profession also evolves, because don't forget, this is a very young industry. Okay, so let's see levels of experience. Hobbyist, student, looking to break into industry, working already in the industry, running a solo dev endeavor or studio. Go, go, go. What are you building? Who are you? Where do you come from? Yeah, narrative designer has changed meaning for every studio I've been at. That's real. That's real. C or E? Okay, lore master, C, student, nice. We have a lot of students and graduates in our Discord. A lot of people out of the job currently, very sadly. That's why after helping Ukrainian game devs put together teams and products and learn narrative, and generally I was mentoring a lot of Ukrainian game devs. I realized that what they needed at the time, you know, a chance to become more employable, chance to pick their projects from the ground, I decided to, you know, open up and kind of share this with the world, and that's how we got here. Okay, working alone. Technically storytelling for games, but I want to channel the narrative design role. Yeah, currently out of job. Yeah, sadly, a lot of people out of job. Okay, so what is this workshop about? As you know, the games industry is in crisis. Um, Massive layoffs everywhere, like top tier people just dumped. Graduates oftentimes come with a lot of desire, a lot of hope, only to find these big walls. A lot of them end up working outside games. A lot of people I've contacted are like, "Actually, shit, I'm out of here. I'm just gonna change the industries." And luckily, narrative design is quite transferable skill, believe it or not. This is not the first crisis in gaming. When I was in a crisis in gaming, and not as harsh as this one, I learned that storytelling for businesses is also an amazing thing you can do. Like, I mean, not advocating for that. Go make games, go write for games. But I understand a lot of people transitioning from narrative design to brand voicing or content strategy, etc. Yeah, and a lot of struggling. I've seen people trying to get job for a year, many years. Um, yeah, no junior roles. This is actually, this problem about junior roles predates the crisis, because um, narrative design never had a junior roles. Only in certain studios who want to distinguish between employees. Other than that, narrative design is something you either do or you don't. And yeah, a lot of studios cannot distinguish between junior and senior in narrative design. One of my students recently got a job. We'll talk about this case later, even though her experience was not like super senior. But so yeah, it is a very strange role. People are like, "Can you do this or not?" And then they cannot even evaluate if you can do this or not. I mean, industry simply doesn't see you. Yeah, this is a harsh reality. Although it's very hard and difficult for us, not much has changed. It's as difficult as ever, and there is a big paradox actually that uh, kind of lack of clarity. What is narrative designer doing? From studio side, I mean, like people who should give you jobs. At first no one was sure what narrative designer does, and now it's even deeper, because if a studio is building a narratively driven game, like story heavy game with a lot of writing, they will be like, "Yeah, we know what narrative designer does, but we don't need you by." And if they're not, if they're making a strategy or management or a first person shooter, they're like, "Oh, we're not making your kind of game. Sure, you're redundant anyway." Wrong, so wrong. The narrative design is not just about stories and writing dialogues. But yeah, not for us, not much has changed, because not, they don't see the value. They don't see the need. It's really crazy. And yeah, narratively driven game and well written game are continuously becoming hit. Why? First of all, because you can make one battle royale shooter and everyone will play it. You cannot make like hundreds. I mean, people actually did make hundreds, waste millions of dollars, gazillions of dollars. But on the market there's space for, I don't know what, 10 first-person shooters. Everyone's gonna play the same 10. And then the narrative-driven games are, that's another thing. They are consumable. You play them once, twice, you replay them 100 times, never mind. They're still a consumable, and they become big hits. They rake in a lot of money, but studios are too capitalistic. Yeah, too worried for profits, too worried about repeating the success. So no one seems to get the magic formula about writing a good game, which is really ridiculous, because there are some amazing narratives who deeply understand the game and language of storytelling in games, but studios somehow don't acknowledge it. give you a secret already. A secret tip. You know who can understand you? Believe it or not, mobile game studios. I know. Everyone who wants to get in the games industry is like, no, I don't want to write for stupid mobile games. I understand, me neither. But they pay well, they are funded. If they are on the Google store, App Store, and in the first, I don't know, 50 top lists, they are funded. They have investors, and they can pay your salary, and they need you. Maybe they don't know how to evaluate your work. Maybe they don't know how to employ you, where to find you. But these guys, they the cutthroat situation of the cutthroat competition in mobile games is really like super rough. And you know how not only I had clients in mobile space, but also I spoke to a lot of people in that niche. And also I my old habit as a game journalist, I keep track of the industry top list charts and everything, and I noticed that the general story games like, I don't know, Evermerge used to be top ranking, like whatever content, no story, or just whatever, everything goes. Elvis meets Cinderella, fine, everything's fine. But nowadays, top ranking games in the industry, in mobile industry, are those strongly thematic ones. And hiring rates are actually changed. Like it used to be 1 in 200 employees. Like for every 200 employees, studios could afford or want to afford one narrative designer, but now it's down to 1 in 50. So let's say this is an official second takeaway. If you need a job and you don't mind writing or working for mobile games, try there. Okay. Oops, let's move on. So yeah, our work has always been undervalued and underappreciated. And this, what we are trying to do here now is learn how to show your value to studios. And if mobile is the place, I get learner. Yeah, mobile. I mean, mobiles are also in crisis, but it's the place where there's still money. So this is a practical workshop. We are not at university. You're not here to listen to me rant. Old man, I resent whoever wrote this, old man. Keep a pen and paper handy. We'll have like small tasks along the way. So let's dive in. Yeah, and there'll be an assignment at the end. So we'll review it. If you didn't know, we have this Saturday reviews at Discord, where every Saturday 9 p.m. Central European Time, you can submit your portfolio, your story, your game, whatever, and I will take a look at it, as serious as you want me to. If you say go brutal, I go brutal. If not, I'll be polite, but not too much. That's not my style. There's also going to be other people pitching in, so it's a good place to get honest feedback. All right, bonuses. They're gonna be bonuses, gifts. If you stick around till the end, you'll get bonuses. One bonus is narrative designer CV and cover letter template made by our own amazing Volodymyr, and example portfolio. So this example portfolio, please don't use it as don't copy my homework. Use it as a blueprint, as an example. Portfolio is critical. My students get hired because of their portfolios, not because of their CVs. But we'll talk about it later. So, time to get started. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let me see. Go brutal. Go ready. I guess you're ready. So, why do studio needs developers? Type in the chat, why studio needs developers? To develop, yeah, to develop, to make the games, that the studio can sell to players and earn ungodly amounts of money. Congratulations, we all win. Why do studio needs artists? Why do studio needs artists? To create the assets, bravo! To create the assets, which is art that's appealing enough to what? Attract and sell game to more players. So yeah, for studio, it's obvious why they need artists. Why studios need game designers? Why studios need game designers? What do game designers do? There is a beautiful example with the door. Who remembers that meme? It's an amazing one. So, what are game designers for? To make something that's actually playable, to design games, to make gameplay, so that, repeat after me, design games that keep players engaged so they can stay longer and pay more money. Woo! So yeah, studios are obviously super interested in generating value. Why do they need us? What do we do? Why do they need us? To have a punching bag. To pretend they pretend they don't need us anyway. Yeah, I mean, why do they need us? To maintain the story of the game, to create narratives, gameplay loops, and meanings. Yeah, I mean, we are in the business of meaning making, bros. But actually, yeah, we are not really appreciated. There is not really something that studio sees as a clear value. Cohesion, they can say like, oh well, we have we have a product that's cohesion enough. Yeah, narrative designers not seen as something that inherently creates value like artists do. And that's why the hierarchy in the studio is always like that. Like the management comes first, and then developers are precious, do not disturb them, do not feed monkeys, and then artists, you need an army of them, and they need to be full-time employed, they need to be grinding those assets. Game designers, yeah, we'll hire a few, and then narrative designers. And who is a narrative designer? What do narrative designers do? Come on, chat, let's see. We don't just write. What do we do? Yeah, cohesion. I hear you, brothers and sisters, and everyone else, but it's not really what they see. They don't see us as cohesive. We see it as someone who's holding everything together, but no, they don't. Convey information to players. Bravo, whoever said that, 5 points. We find ways to tell stories through gameplay. Yeah, I mean, but we find ways to tell stories through game. But they want game designers to do this, to know this. They don't want us to do this, and it seems like more like a thing, for polish, not for product. We make words, and then they immediately say, but our game has no words, we just have why would we need you? So what do we do as narrative designer? We don't write. What do we do? Storyboard, plot, character line, dialogue moments, and the game writers. Yeah, we seem like a luxury, not like a commodity, you know. So we don't necessarily just write, and if you're shocked to hear this, we are, as someone hinted at, we are the vision holder behind the intended experience for our players. Yeah, we yell into the void basically because we are the fucking vision holders behind the intended experience for our players. We make sure everything sticks together, but they don't see it. They simply don't see it. And when we point out that games can have great narrative without any writing, they're like, okay, move away, whoever you are, whatever you do, you know. So yeah, we're more about meaning making than anything else, but it's a really tight space that we kind of share with game designers, and we're not getting credit enough for that. Believe me, I just came back from a big conference in Poland. Whoever you speak to, they're like, yeah, sure, yeah, and nice that you exist. We won't, take you against the wall, put you against the wall and shoot you, but yeah, people just don't see it. I see myself as a plumber. I would love to be a cohesive force that puts the gameplay together, but instead, I am a plumber. I proudly declare it. Sometimes I don't call myself narrative designer, I call myself narrative plumber. I wish I was a narrative architect, and I wish studios invited me before the walls are being built, before the pipes were being laid. I love it, but instead they call me when the drain is clogged and shit starts spewing forth. Basically, I'm a narrative plumber. I deal with crap that was made because other departments don't know storytelling as intricately as narrative design. I'm not saying game designers and artists don't tell stories. Come on. But specific art of making your game consistent, tied together in a consistent, coherent meaning. It's not easy to understand, and they only see it when pipes burst and shit starts spewing forth. And it's amazing, like so many years in the industry, and I'm still like, okay, where come fix our game. Where did you make mess? Everywhere. Okay. So yeah, the famous last words are from studios are, fix our game, but don't rearrange or cut anything, please. Like, can you fix our pipes, unclog them, but don't cut anything, don't break any walls. Oh my god, that's like infuriating me even to this day. You should be working with game design. You should be working with everyone, from the get-go, from the start. And when I say to everyone, like, come on, guys, invite me earlier, invite me earlier, make me part of your, planning pre-production team. They're like, ooh, you just want to get in and get that juicy retainer. You want, you want your posh title, you want to be, basically, every studio says, oh, narrative designer is not a necessity. It's a luxury, And then when shit comes out of the pipes, then it's like, oh, save us, please. So yeah, horrible. That's the reality. So getting hired for us, it's hard because not because we're bad or useless or whatever, but because storytelling is not seen as a very distinct skill. It's more like, oh, everyone can breathe, so everyone can sing, everyone can tell a story. It's part of our human nature. We are creatures of story. We perceive our life as, main character, and then there is storytelling happening every moment. We are all in some kind of episode. This episode is called Workshop with Ranko, and yeah. So the approach to storytelling is it's actually, yeah, it's actually like intelligence. Some people admit that they're not wise. Some people admit that they're not skilled, but no one really readily accepts that they're stupid. Even when they are. Being stupid is kind of like universally, so like you can't tell a story is almost an insult. Like, what do you mean? I can't tell the story. So yeah, especially this, everyone can breathe, everyone can tell a story. It belongs to, it's a thought that belongs to studio owners. I apologize if there's some of you, some of you are studio owners, but studio owners usually want to tell story themselves. I built this studio, I put together this team, I want my ideas to, be told. That's fine. No one's gonna, tweak your idea, No one's gonna prevent you from being the main storyteller. It just, breathing comes naturally to us. Yes, true, but also there are breathe instructors. Breathing properly is the main skill of opera singers, and people who work with the voice. It's not like everyone knows instinctively and intuitively how to breathe properly. So yeah, we are in this category. When you say, I'm a breath coach, everyone's like, oh yeah, you're one of those, So it's like that. I'm a storyteller. Oh yeah, sure. Tell me a story, entertain me. Yeah, narrative design is a lot like infrastructure. It's invisible when it works well. So if roads in a country are bad, then everyone will complain. But if roads in a country are good, no one will say, oh my god, what beautiful roads, go there, go drive there. Except Germany, I think. They had nice roads, good enough to just go and ride. But even now, they're full of repairs and stuff. Anyway, our skill, our trade, our beloved profession, it's invisible. When it works well, when it doesn't, that's when the shit starts, coming out, and then when they realize, oh my god, we need someone to fix this. And now listen carefully. This one is super important. So hiring process doesn't see you, because HRs, producers, product owners don't have a clue how to evaluate your work. Repeat after me. HRs, which is the first in a employment pipeline, product owners and you're not gonna be interviewed by lead narrative designer. Trust me. 99% of studios will first, HR gets your CV and portfolio, and then they shift you to producer or product owner or some manager. They will not give your piece to a writer who's going to read your portfolio and say, this dude can write. Not going to happen. A lot of studios, including a lot of mobile game studios, will not even post that they're looking for a narrative designer because they don't know how to process you. I'm not saying that all of narrative design ads out there are scam, but a lot of them are. They're just there to advertise, And how do I know this? First of all, I spoke to more than 100 recruiters, and that's what I based my portfolio mentorship on. We'll talk about it later. But generally, they don't know what to do. Every narrative designer used to be employed, especially in the early times, by being connected somehow. Like, oh, do you know someone who can do this? Yes, I do. No, I don't. Which is why networking is still super important. Super important. A lot of my clients only want to do business with me when they see me at the conference talking, giving talk. They're like, oh yeah, this seems like we could use someone like this. Before that, like, here's my application, here's my, knock. No. But yeah, the moment they have pain and they come to listen to your workshop or to talk at the conference and recognize this pain, that's when they react. It's really like horrible. This is the biggest issue. It's not even the ATS. Like, you pass the fucking ATS, but then like they look at your portfolio and they're like, oh, it's a wall of text. I don't know what to do with this. And then they go by, other measures like, oh, do you have long enough CV? Did you work on some famous title? Which is why, by the way, I do suggest you to do modding, work on a modding project if you can, if that's your thing, But like, if you're in with a modding project, it's a good thing. It's a bonus. So, for example, oh, I've made my own game. It's called Shala 3. It's out in some dusty corner of some shop. They'll be like, yeah, sure, especially if you share screens or something, they're like, oh, it doesn't look like a product, this is shit. And it's like, I made it myself, like everything, it's a thing, it's a project. They're like, yeah, but it's not earning millions, isn't it? So companies have really serious lack of imagination, especially the HRs. So, adding to your portfolio or to your CV that you've worked on your own title, good luck with that. Indies will love it, but these HRs don't give a shit. But if you're like, oh, I worked as a modder for a famous title, they'll be like, ooh, interesting. So horrible. I want to puke, but that's reality. So if you have pen and paper nearby, as I asked you to, how would I explain what I do to 5-year-old? How would you say what's your job as narrative designer? How would you explain it to 5-year-old kid? Don't type answers now in the chat. Just prepare this this one. Also, staying hired is hard too. As we seen examples in chat, people were working, everything was just fine, and then you're out. So even if you're in the industry, you'll struggle. I mean, I know by my clients, I have to keep providing them with value, or next review time they'll be like, maybe we can cut this little narrative dude. So it's really an uphill battle. One of my students, experienced narrative designer with really nice titles behind him, he joins this new exciting startup. Everything seems so super fun. Project was fun, team loves his work, blah blah. And then one day we pivot. Suddenly they don't need narrative design anymore. You're not part of the core part of the team. You're embellishment. You're the one who does cohesion. We have enough cohesion for now. Bye. And you get sacked. So another question. What studio would I want to work for and why? Why is important? Because a lot of times I see my fellow young and upcoming narrative designers be like, I want to work for AAA studios. Why, dude? Are you aware that it's a factory and you're going to be a tiny cog? Like, artistic freedom, forget it. Why do you want to be, designing? I once met a 3D designer, kudos to those guys, hard work, hard skills, but like, he worked in a AAA studio designing capes. He was just making capes flowing and fluttering in the wind. That was his only job. It's like working in a factory, and screwing the same crew. Again, if that's your thing, who am I to, stop you from wishing that? But for me, it was always like, why would you want to do that? So what studio do you want to work and why? And job security is not on the table. Like AAA studio, one day you're fine, your name is on a big title, and then bye-bye. So yeah, it used to be like that. Like, I want to be working for a famous title so that everyone can know me and I can be earning big, but no, it's not anymore. Yeah, the role of narrative designer is treated as a luxury rather than a core part of any successful video game. Sadly, that's one of the big reasons why we are undervalued. And especially if you have just, write story as your job title or job description, then you're first to go. But if your value is, I help the team ship better, more understandable, more sellable games, then maybe you can save your skin from at least one layoff circle. But how to do that? How do you think you can prove your value? This is a good game. This is a good question. So, chat now. How would you help the team ship better, more understandable, more sellable? How would you go about explaining to your studio, managers that what's your value? And don't give me this, like we make coherent, blah blah. Like, give me a capitalistic view. Like, how do you tell your people with money that you're worth their investment? By making my work hard, other people very well. So you admit you're second tier, Show not only can write, but also design games, mechanics. So basically, you're pushed into having dual roles. Understand the pipeline or role design a game and be aware of purpose needs. That's a bit better, yeah? Confused players work with my values. I can write lines, the friends code each other on cheap online. Okay, do narrative design and work. Yeah, being multidisciplinary is not always it's a good thing to get employed, and I do wish for every one of you to have another skill set that you can rely upon. I understand it. Me, myself, I never wrote a line of code for my clients. But when they see like, ooh, you know Python, oh, you understand coding, they think it's like super important skill set that, they can hire me upon. And of course, being game designer / narrative designer is always almost a must. But yeah, I hate it actually. I want to be recognized as someone who helps the team ship better, more understandable, more sellable games. So yeah, it's really tough. All of you who wear multiple hats, that's great. Sometimes you will not be forced or made to use all of your skill sets, but in your CV, super important. Like, that's the reality. Yeah. Well, if you can showcase the value somehow, then you become a much harder to remove, which also why being a visual holder is not bad strategy. So basically, if you embed yourself in a team as someone who's providing content, you can be sacked. But if you are the key vision holder for the coherent narrative of the entire game, not just about story, but about every element that participates in the game, you become much harder to remove. My client was debating every year, should they keep or should they, ditch me? But every time they understand that without me, it's not only about game designers who are lost and not sure what to do, but like every other feature, UI, UX, monetization features, whatever, they all need kind of basic brief coming from world building, and it's always like, ooh, we want to add element X to our game. Does it fit the story or not? And no one holds the whole, Bible of the storytelling of the game in their head but me. So my value is I keep the whole product like the vision of the whole product in one place. So I'm much harder to remove. So help your studio answer the following questions. Are you just another idea guy, or are you actually useful to the team? So this is very important. A lot of narratives come from just purely art universities. Like I finished drama school, I finished language school or literature. My only skill is writing. Then you're hanging on a very thin thread. Especially if you cannot communicate your ideas to the team, which is why I always beg my students or people who ask me like, how do I get employed? Please don't show your stories to the world. No one cares about your story. No one cares about your script. Show me that you can communicate to all the other team members. Show me that you understand what your producer needs to understand about the feature in order to make tasks. Show me that you can understand what devs or game designers need in terms of balance or mechanics to implement your story or element of the story. This one is big. Another huge takeaway would be learn what is a technical documentation, learn how to make technical documentation, and learn how to implement it in the portfolio. So how to showcase that you actually understand the pipeline, as someone said, and that you can communicate your ideas clearly. And that includes a lot of diagrams, pictures, references. Referencing is not just, oh, I googled an image and I slapped it in my portfolio. Making a proper reference art in itself. And if you don't know this, then you're just one other, wall of text guy. And why would that have any meaning? Which makes us come to the other moment, which is they are afraid that they will spend a lot of time onboarding you. Now, every studio is aware that you have a probation period, that you have an onboarding period, and they would love it if you can be operational within a few weeks. If they need 3 months to train you, 6 months to train you, you're a burden. So, again, do modding. Modding is no longer, just hacking the original game. Modding is now serious. It's a team-like structure. Mark my words, when the industry gets better, studios are not going to be hiring individuals, maybe some top experts. Studios are going to be hiring entire modding studios or entire volunteer studios. That's a trend now. I really like it. People banding together to make games on a volunteer basis. Risky, time-consuming, very, very risky, but all of these studios are making some really cool games. So yeah, of utmost importance is to showcase that you know how pipelines work, how team works, how games are actually made, and that you understand what are qualities are expected of you to be useful to your team since day one. That's super important to showcase. Can you talk to them? CD Projekt mods? Yeah. Especially because CD Projekt Red has they have this kind of what is it called? Red Kit. Iga is with us. Iga, say hi. Red Kit is super important to get familiar with because it's a beginning of understanding the technical side of narrative. Super important. So can you talk to the team? That's another question they want to know. Can you translate your ideas to game designers, producers, and artists without leaving them in a cloud of wait, I have to do this. I know it's not. Okay, big shout out to Iga. She's amazing narrative designer who is master of RedKit. Basically, when I say can you talk to the team, it means that oftentimes as a storyteller, I would be presenting my team with ideas, with concepts, with like very flexible, like we can do this, but we can also pivot and make it like that. And I was surprised how little imagination they have. And I was like, guys, you're game designers. You should be able to imagine and kind of bounce off my ideas. No, 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 dudes. It's not on them. It's on me. I did not know how to properly communicate idea, because if you want your people, your team, to get it and enhance your idea, you have to communicate it very clearly, because we have so many filters. We are pressured to communicate. We are communicating online, which requests a lot more effort. See, I'm like, doing this show here. I cannot be just like, blah, 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 blah. I need to be active, to keep interacting with you. I don't see any of you guys, so it's like talking to some weird device. Anyway, you have to overcome a lot of natural or artificial or whatever barriers in communication to get your message across. And even then, you have to kind of engage them first to understand your idea so they can bounce it off. A good example is, how do you engage your readers? If you're a writer, or at least like writing, how do you engage your audience? A lot of games are like, no, we will not have our main character speak or be even seen. We want everyone to imagine. But you cannot imagine if you don't have anything to go off with. Like oftentimes my students of traditional writing, they're like, the princess was beautiful, and I'm like, okay, how do you want us to imagine the princess? What if for some guys, beautiful means something totally different than from you, which is also another pair of shoes. But like, how do we imagine? What is beautiful? It's an abstract thing. For me, beautiful thing is pizza. Do you want me to imagine princess as a big, cheesy pizza? You have to give your audience something to catch, to latch on, and then their imagination can fly. The same is with technical documentation, clear communication of idea so they can understand it and then, imagine how it would be implemented one day, blah, blah, blah. I cannot stress enough how mock-ups, sketches are super important, both as a part of technical documentation, but also part of translating your ideas. Are you flexible? This is also important. I remember, anecdote time. There was a studio in my country. They made one MOBA game. And the gameplay, I don't know. Maybe it was good, maybe it was not, I don't know. I really don't. I'm not into MOBA games, and people seem to have fun. I guess it was okay. But elements of storytelling, like the characters, their meanings, their stories, it was horrible. It was absolutely mess. Like usually you can connect, 3 dots and then some meaning appears. 1, 2, 3, like, okay, so you can imagine what happens 4 or 5. But these it was like 1, 2, and then nothing. Disconnection. They had so disparate characters with so like, it was horrible. And I asked them, like, who did this to you? What happened here? And they said, well, our writer said that it has to be this way, and if it's not that way, we he will not work with us. Oh my God, that guy. I honestly, my answer to this producer was, can you defenestrate this person, and I'll take all the consequences. Go to the police, say we defenestrated this guy, Ranko told us to do it, he's the one to blame. Because this writer, he wasn't a game designer, he was just some writer, he ruined their game basically, Why? Because he was not flexible. He could not accept that the work is never good from the first iteration. Look, with my 25 years experience, I'm close to nailing it from the first go, but I do not do it every time. I'm ready to, toss the idea, explain it well, thoroughly, and then find people objecting to this or that, this needs polishing, this needs cutting, this needs changing. First thing we need is, no ego. Just accept that writing is not only as an artistic process necessary to have iterations, but also we're the cheapest. Not only in sense of our salaries, but like artists invest 15, 20, 40, 120 hours to make some asset, and then if someone says, okay, cut, studio lost a lot of money. If we write something and then we are asked to rewrite it, from my perspective, it's as valuable as those hundreds of hours of artists, but studios see it as cheap, like, okay, just change it. To them, it seems like easiest thing to change, so you're forced to iterate. Such is our luck. And oftentimes, we need to kind of just redo. Because yeah, words are cheap, but animated assets are treasure. So let's play a game of bingo. We're going to the juicy part, the portfolio thing. I will list some mistakes and you will type in chat which of these mistakes you're making. So your portfolio doesn't display your value to the studio because you write as if you're writing to the players, not your teammates. How many times have you written a story, a script, game object, a character, as if trying to entice your players to enjoy it, not as information for your team? Wall of text. Are you guilty of writing a sample that's not actually a portfolio piece, but just like big fat wall of text? Like, this is my story. Are you guilty of not having a readable content? And just to remind you, table of contents is not readability. This is readability, like short sentence, bullet points, indented bullet points, bold keywords, something that you can skim through. Wall of text, bad for your portfolio. Do you use formats that recruiters ignore? Now, controversial topic, incoming, brace yourselves. Website, especially if it's a free Wix website, is not a portfolio format. I know some studios will accept links as portfolio, but trust me, I spoke to more than 100 recruiters. Do not use websites, mirror boards, clickable, like here, go to my mirror board and see what I've done. No one is gonna go browse through your website. It is good to have a website. It's good to represent yourself. It is important as a part of trust building for indie studios. If your aim is to go to indie studios, do have a website. Indie studios love it when you show yourself up with some project that you've done. I've built this website. It looks cool. But don't use your website as a portfolio delivery system, please. Now especially they can afford thousands of applicants. They're not gonna click and search through your wall of text on your website. Don't do it. Again, studios, treat them as someone who is stupid, basically, who is no imagination. I've seen this so many times. I send my generic portfolio to one studio, and they look at my games and they're like, oh, we're not building these kind of games, we're not matched by. Dudes, I'm showcasing my skill, bye. Oh, your portfolio piece is about RPG and we don't make these, bye. Sadly, I know this is horrible, but sadly you need to kind of give up on having a generic portfolio. which is why I beg you, I will share portfolio piece that I made for myself. It's just an idea, blueprint in something that you can kind of see how I structured it, but don't think that's my only portfolio, because studios will ditch you if you showcase them. Oh, these examples, these are from mobile games. We're not a mobile game, we're a PC studio. Bye. Horrible. What do we use then? Just try to make the portfolio, because portfolio is not a CV. You can choose what goes in your portfolio. If you're applying to a PC game, you've never worked on a PC game, take a character intended for PC game, a quest line intended for PC game, piece of world building intended for PC game, invent a PC game, and showcase how would you do it. Portfolio luckily doesn't require it to be something you actually did. It doesn't have to be coming from your actual work. Portfolio used to mean just collection of your art. You can do exercises and showcase them as your portfolio. You can build your portfolio. You can invent a game, write a game design document, and just for a game that you invented, and just take it. If you're applying to RPG studio, make an RPG element. If you're applying to a first-person shooter studio, take a character fitting for this game and turn it into a technical portfolio piece, into a technical documentation about that character. I know it's a lot of work. I know it's horrible, but you have to do everything that increases your chances. You can build your portfolio piece. You also can, if you feel bad about sending your exercises as a portfolio piece, that's why people gather into volunteer studios, to make a portfolio piece. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of time. But everything that gains you advantage, I would use it. And last but not least, I see a lot of portfolios don't explain the contribution to the project. So, like, this is a story, blah, 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 and doesn't explain like why this story. What is it showcasing? What was your contribution to this project, or what would you prefer to be? Oh, another thing about the number 4. If you don't want to be making entire game just to have your portfolio piece, what you can do also is make an analysis of an existing game and then invent a new piece. Like, you found a character in, let's say, The Witcher 3. You found a character in Witcher 3 which is underused. You think this character has potential and you could make something greater with this character. Make a portfolio piece explaining how would you change this character and make it more important or more prominent or used in another way. Should we build a portfolio from scratch for each application? Yes, I mean, if you want to apply to widely different studios, then yes. But I would suggest to pick a studio or a kind of games that you want to get, or your chances are best there, and then polish it for there. But I personally make one portfolio a month, because it takes about that time to make it and polish it, and it's kind of good to have one for these guys and one for the other guy. Except for studios you don't want to work with. Like, if you don't want to work for mobiles, don't ever make mobile games portfolio. I always use PDF. No, PDF is actually the best. PDF is the best. PDF, like, the only one. Yeah, A4 PDFs. Landscape, game changer. Don't do portrait PDFs. A4, it's not going to be enough content for all the visuals. landscape PDFs. You can send multiple PDFs. I wouldn't do multiple PDFs. I would try to pack it in one. The guys told me like 1 to 3 pages PDF. More is good if it's super readable. Yeah. Thank you for the advice. Yeah, bunch of portfolio pieces. That's true. Leon is right. You know, bunch of portfolio pieces. We use Notepad like man. Notepad. Don't start me with Notepad. Notepad is good tool, but not same as website. So yeah, don't portfolio who doesn't explain what's your contribution to the project. It's not good. Your stories or OG characters do not communicate your value to Arch producer product. So yeah, this is another big piece. So if you just wrote a story or a script or something that's like wall of text, it's not useful to producer product manager. So technical things is something that they can understand. Look how I formatted this feature. Look how I formatted my character, you know, to be understandable for my team members. And also, like OG characters or OG content is good, but if you have mods for high profile games, do it. You know, it's more resounds, you know, hits harder, so to speak. And then if you don't have any experience, do, you know, characters from existing games, you know. Storyteller then, what did he ask? Do you usually prefer having proved their workers? Yeah, but your portfolio can be like, this is what I would do. This is what showcases my skills. It doesn't have to be, your CV is where you don't lie and where you don't, you cannot invent and be like, oh, I wish I worked there. But for portfolio piece, it's okay to showcase like, this is how I do things. Because oftentimes I see that studios ask to learn about your creative process. I see that indies especially are trying to do this. They will be like, send us your CV, send us your portfolio and example of your thought process. Because that's more valuable than the actual, you know, what did you build. So if you can infuse your portfolio with like, okay, this is how I build things, that's cool. That's something I did in this portfolio example. So, time to see some numbers, chat. What kind of mistake does your portfolio contain? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, another reason why studios like modding teams is because modders took something they understand and enhanced it, changed it, redesigned it, and studios can see value in that. Like, ooh, these guys are skilled. They did something we did and made it even greater. 3, 4. Yeah. 3, 4 is typical. 1 to 6, all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Yeah, most of us do all of these, yeah. How to fix number 6? It's hard. I understand. I agree. But like, take a narrative element from their game. Take a character from their game, and do something with it. Take a character from a famous game. Do something with it. It's important to showcase your process. So don't make it like a centerpiece of your portfolio, but somewhere like, okay, this is what I would do. PDF cannot replace the website, but website is useless information for them. It's something they don't want to access, and something they cannot search easily, and something they have to render, they have to interpret. In portfolio, in PDF portfolio, everything is like portfolio is somewhere between technical and artistic, you know. This is what my skills are, and one of the most important skills is this communication between other teams and other team members. Portfolio showcases that I can do this, I understand how the games are made, you don't have to teach me, you know, how to lay eggs, I'm a good hand. So it's very true. Alvaro is right. So each studio is asking for something else, and it's not easy. I agree. That's one of the things youth of our industry is, you know, inevitably bringing in sense that you cannot really know what each studio wants. But take it, it's like being it's like being it's like being a cowboy on a Wild West, you know. Cowboy can ride, they can, you know, herd cattle, they can shoot, blah blah. So which cowboy are you? Are you a cowboy who's like fast on a draw, or are you a cowboy who's really cool with branding, or, you know, shearing sheep or whatever? You have to show to the studio what's your top skill, and if they don't need it, you're out of luck. But you can also, you cannot, you know, if you're trying to present yourself as super Swiss blade man, you know, who does everything equally well, for studios, not usually the most preferred position. But you can position yourself like, I do straight shooting very well, I do this very well. The problem is, and you'll see how I solved it in my portfolio. The problem is your portfolio usually doesn't tell a story about you. It's just samples of your work. Not good. For art, it works. This is my character, and then they can evaluate. What kind of lines did you do? Did you do shading properly? You know, did you do proportions properly? Portfolio for narrative is difficult because you're trying to showcase your skill to the people who don't have a clue about these skills. So it has to be telling a story. After all, what kind of narrative designers are you if you cannot make story out of your fucking portfolio? So you can try to make your portfolios more like a pitch deck than anything else. It works. Combined with the technology, with the technical documentation, which is clearly demonstrating your idea, your clarity of expressing your ideas. My students so far had the best experience with technical portfolios, and they were not even particularly spectacular. It's just showcasing their idea, how they would do things, for games that never got made, that we invented for the sake of portfolio building. But I swear, just the guy just opened portfolio, saw readable, clear, formatted, well-referenced idea, and was like, okay, you're hired. Because that's what they value, that's what they see. So yeah, links and playables, no, playables are also not good. Indie teams, yes. For indie teams, you can showcase your playable, because then indie studios would like to see that you've built something on your own by yourself, that you can finish the project that you started, that you're like a self-starter, etc. So playables are good if you're specifically interested to a indie team, but no corporate dude or girl or whatever, you know, is gonna be clicking at your playable and downloading it and then playing it. No way. PDF all the way. Okay, let's continue. So, how to make a good portfolio? Write it for the team. Think, what information will my producer need to start writing tasks? What do my artists need to understand? And remember, artists don't like to read visual guides, react on visual inputs. Make the references, don't just toss references, make a mood board for them. What would my game designer need to implement this character or this narrative or this quest? What kind of balance can he, you know, invent after your idea? Support this idea with mock-ups, with diagrams. Show your ideas that solve real problems. Like, gameplay is this, we want these emotions to show. How do you build elements, you know, to do this? Show how your skills fit into a real game. Use visuals, diagrams, charts, mock-ups, or even in-engine examples. Implement your technical documentation not just as a raw dump. I know that some of you who have experience, who have worked, know that in the industry that each studio does things differently. And oftentimes Narrative tools are like endless Excel tables with some crazy mix of art and technical data in it. Don't raw dump this. Make it structured. Make it like a feature, feature document, feature spec. It's called specification document. Like, don't dump a novel chapter or a raw game script. And most importantly, make your portfolio schemable, that they can just that it's clear from the first view that it's something organized, well. Consider studio needs, audiences, and constraints. Recruiters are simply thinking, does this guy know, your girl or whatever, know the job? Can we, spend as little time onboarding them as possible? And how would this look in our game? That's big one, but necessary. Again, stop using websites and mirror boards. They never get opened unless you are applying to indie studios. So PDF, only acceptable format I preach. I swear to you, again, recruiters I talk to are like 1 to 3 pages PDF, 10 maximum if it's good readability, if it's good, if it's schemable. Best advice I can give you. I know it's going to be difficult. You build a website. A website is cool. Have a website, but don't use it as portfolio, please. Again, support your own work. Show what was the project. What did you do? Why did it matter? What is the result? Don't be like, oh, this is a character I invented. Everyone can invent. But how would you implement it? What would this solve? How would it be different? How it would be appealing to the audience? Yeah, I will give you a portfolio. Don't worry. In case you are not sure, what to do next, show up on our Discord. Bring your stories, bring your portfolios. We have weekly sessions. Literally post your stuff. Someone will answer you. There are really good narrative designers, really experienced ones on the Discord. If you do it, if you want to do it live, join us for Saturday reviews. You're gonna get your portfolio reviewed. I'll give you the suggestions best to best of my experience and knowledge. Those are, of course, just reviews and suggestions, brutal as it may be, but you're the ultimate, boss of your own life. I especially like it when there's another writers on the call, and we usually have some really cool dudes hanging out with us and dudettes and whatever. So you can always get, a bunch of a really cool and varied feedbacks. I mean, I can give you my best idea, but someone else might give you their best idea, which you prefer. Fine with me. So yeah, do join our portfolio sessions. I'll plaster some links. This is our Discord link. Yeah, I mean, should the portfolio be linked on our linked pages, for example, should be available upon request. Do you want to join my game jam team next week? Yeah, sure, why not? How would you do that? So show the project what you did over there. How would you instead how would you instead do that for a studio who's gonna care about your own project? Use their project, use their project. Yeah, portfolio should be part of your, you know, it should be a PDF you upload to their application format, whatever, you know, that's the best. Are you able to send? Yeah. Tape plays. This, I think this recording and this chat will stay for some time. So if you have to go, there's still gonna be a link. So don't worry, you're not missing out. Tell Mario Prince the customer is open to hire. So yeah, join us. It's really gonna be great. So how to make a good CV? Okay, disclaimer, I'm not an expert on CVs. But what I did learn from recruiters, I will share with you. And they're like, don't list experience under 6 months. Like, don't, you know, if you joined the project, did the game jam or something, they're like, you know, don't list it. But my question was, so what if that's the only experience I have? What do I do then? And so there is a hack or a workaround that I thought of, and recruiters actually liked it. And that's like to draw a simple table with 4 columns. Project name, scope, deliverables, outcomes. So for these small projects, for these game jams, for these, you know, gigs, write what was the scope of the project. What were deliverables that you provided? What these deliverables meant for the studio or the project. And then you can fill this table with any small projects that you wouldn't normally put in a CV, or like it's you know, not good advice to put it in a CV. And then instead of naming those individual projects, you can present this in a consolidated and very professional way. For example, in this time, I collaborated with multiple indie studios on narrative specs, world building, docs, character arcs, whatever. And then include this bullet point, this table of outcomes, because then they will understand. Aha, so you were not, you know, doing one big job for one studio, but you did keep busy. You know, you collaborate, you created X projects, you created X outcomes for these people. So do that. Will this workshop be accessible later in YouTube? I think it will stay for you guys. I think it will stay visible for some time. I'm not sure. Okay, so drink some water. I'm drinking Pepsi. Crucify me. But yeah, how are you liking it so far? Did you find it useful? Chat, come on, let's see. Are we cool? Eye changer. Woohoo! Good, glad. Nanotaku. Yeah, various clients. Yeah, various clients. But don't forget to list for them. Like, this is what I did. This is what are the outcomes. That's important. Cover letters are worst. Cover letters are actually interesting topic. One person wrote recipes in their cover letter, like, dear recruiters, I know no one reads this for real, so here's my recipe for lasagna. I don't know if it worked or not. I usually also am guilty of like, hey, I hope we'll talk soon. I'm eager to join your team. Cover letters are really like big unknown, big mystery. But I found recently that they can kind of support your portfolio if you go about it like, hey, I can be vision holder for your studio. Here is why. Take my portfolio and read it in such and such way. I think that it can be meaningful. Very useful. Trying to just think of disciplines and trying to translate my work into in other disciplines. For game design document, how many pages are ideal? There is no ideal number of pages. It has to be clear and yeah, as many as you need to make everything clear. Cover letters are I don't know, really big unknown. Basic. Okay, so dark something, a bit basic on some topics. Yeah, feel free to ask me question that's on your level of experience. I'm happy to answer. Yeah, for example, yeah, you think cover letters are the first thing going into ATS. I have not done my research, I must admit, on that part. My students have had biggest success with portfolios so far, not even CVs. So, yeah, feel free to shoot some questions. Yeah, hit and miss. That's how I would describe cover letters for sure. Hit and miss. Again, I think it depends on the studio, you know. Two pages, one too many for me. I have 2 pages CV. It's okay. What game jams do you personally recommend? I recommend Ludum Dare. Definitely one of the best. But also any game jam would do. You have to know what's your pace. Like I cannot do 7-day game jams. I get lost. I'm too busy to do 7-day game jams. But weekend game jams, yeah, I do them, you know, eagerly, really. It's gonna be readable, yeah. Are game jams beneficial for narrative designers? I think they are, because they can be part of your portfolio, they can be part of your project that you want to develop further, they can be a good exercise. They're not good for kind of systemic way of developing your skills. They could be very useful for practicing your secondary skills. So I personally use game jams to practice my coding. I used one of the game jams to practice my pixel art, and it was a horrible experience, but I still like it. So basically, I personally in game jams do everything but narrative. But sometimes when I'm doing solo, like I don't have any team, yeah, I will do just a text-based game and that's it. How to get involved in the modding community? Well, Nexus mods, forums, also Discord servers for modders. Modding community is not so close, I would say. Iga can tell us more. I think Iga has more experience with modders than me. I hate coding. Oh, I love coding. It's amazing because I'm so not talented for it. It always feels great when my code works. Like, yeah! If 3 pages is ideal number for portfolio, what would you say? 3 samples. Yeah, 3 samples, 1 per page. That's good. That's why I suggested landscape, so you can put your text and put your visuals in a nice fashion, because portrait somehow always feels clunky. Redkit forum on the Witcher Discord server. Thank you, Iga. What's your engine software choice? My software of choice, believe it or not, is RenPy. Like, I love Python, and RenPy is Python-based visual novel engine, but it can do so much more. You can build RPGs, tactical, team-based games. You can make adventures, point and clicks, whatever. It's really nice engine. I like it. Can we see for example? Yeah. Sure. So let's continue. So if you remember, I started the talk with a list of fun facts about me. Because, yeah, some weird or hidden experience can actually, improve your visibility. As someone said in a chat, I always try to present myself with some quirky, weird facts in the cover letter. I think that's a good way to use cover letter. For some it would be acting, for some it would be writing fairy tales, copywriting, modding games, QA testing. By the way, copywriting skills super useful for narrative design. So what other experiences would you say would be cool to increase your value? Share in the chat. So what would you say is your extra? Like for me, I would say, everything I did, acting and journalism and creative writing. But also other positions I did, like game design and even coding, Yeah, copywriting is cool. D&D mastering, that's true. D&D mastering, that's a really good one. Journalism, ghostwriting is good. Ink, writing a book with super. Photography, surprisingly good one, Mastering social work, that's cool. That's really cool. Especially considering that a number of serious games are going to be on the rise. Like mental health games gonna be big. Already a lot of investors are moving from entertaining games and moving to serious games and healthcare games. Theater, playwright, that's cool. Warhammer, amazing. Thank you guys. So, give studio a free sample. So, you can consider your portfolio a free sample of your work. Like, this is my value. This is how I demonstrate my value. But it can be shown in a way of different, in a number of different ways. Like some quick fix, some quick help. This especially works well on live events, networking, expos, even Discord servers. I would sometimes go to a Discord server of a game I like, but I think it could be better. And I wouldn't be like, oh, this is what you need to be changing. But like, hey, I noticed this character. I would do this, to improve that. So don't just offer to change something, but like, why? What do you think is wrong, and why do you think it would be better? It's a risk, high risk, high reward kind of thing. But first of all, it dispels the idea that you're just another narrative idea guy that has something to say, and it can spark conversation. And the moment you enter in the conversation with the studio or your future team members, it's easier to kind of reach some kind of understanding. Especially works well for indie studios, because you will not get that much access. But look, LinkedIn. A lot of times just by commenting on LinkedIn can be like, I got my first job just by saying a few comments and guy was like, okay, you're hired. So be respectful, be also mindful not to poke, someone's project in the eye, like, oh, you did this wrong. But if you showcase that your ideas have merit and it sparks a conversation, that's a good foot in a door, foot in the door. So you don't have to wait for permission. You can simply respectfully point out, like, this is what I think you could be doing better, and this is what would happen if you don't do it. I mean, I know it's a wild thing and that doesn't come often, but for example, I remember I was approached by a Japanese studio and they asked like, hey, we need to turn this game into a multiplayer competitive blah blah, we have $1 million, but we only have 1 year, what do you think? And I was like, well, I think, it's good that you have $1 million, but there's not enough time to turn this relatively unknown IP into like big multiplayer spectator sport, but if there's a way to do it, I would do it this way. So I didn't pitch them idea, I didn't like tell them what to do, I was just like, I think that pitfalls are there, and I think they could be mitigated in this way. And they were like, you're from a small unknown country, what do you know? We are Japanese, we're making games for decades and centuries, blah blah. We invented this. You have no clue. And then 6 months later, it turns out that they fell exactly in those pitfalls that I showed them, and that was the start of our conversation. So yeah, sometimes it's a long shot, and it doesn't pay off immediately. But yeah, if you frame it, maybe I wasn't being respectful enough about the Japanese greatness in the field of gaming. But yeah, I don't know. I still think it's a good idea to converse, to engage studios in conversation. So, challenges that you've already experienced is that there's no feedback, and without feedback, there's no improvement. You're just getting, sorry, no, instead of, this is what's lacking in your portfolio or your CV or something. But that's why communities are good for. Again, join our Discord. But that's also what a lot of conferences and expos are good for. It doesn't have to be GDC. You don't have to fly to California or whatever there is. You don't have to fly to some, a big event. You can start with some local or regional. And oftentimes, conferences will actually not require that you have extensive experience. I started giving talks with almost zero experience in narrative design. I had some experience in gaming, but not spectacular. I was a game designer for several dozen failed projects which never took flight, and producer for questionable at best, like some hidden object games or something. So entry level to being a speaker for a conference is relatively low. It just needs you to have a good, topic to present, and it opens a lot of discussion. It opens a lot of feedbacks. Even today, like I had this great idea of how games could be using better narrative structures. I made it into a talk. I pitched it. I got booed out of the stage in Wrocław in Poland. No, they didn't boo me, but they were not really happy. But the thing is, I worked to improve it, and I presented it later. It was a big success. So go to places where you can, get feedbacks, so you can improve. Staying motivated, super hard. I don't know if I can really help you here, because job hunting is simply, a numbers game. Throw, another hook, another hook, another hook. Progress can sometimes feel invisible, which again, I think why communities are important. Even, these gatherings here. Yeah. And basically, you have to sell yourself. You have to show that you are not just hireable, but like necessary, indispensable, valuable. And again, there are many ways to do it. Portfolio is one of them. Networking is another. And being active generally. Like, I see a lot of people be like, oh, I'm open for work. I did this and that. Why is no one paying attention to my plight? I'm applying for job for over a year. Really sad, really horrible. But I don't think you gain visibility by posting on your LinkedIn. I think the better visibility you get by commenting or like being active on others. Again, someone smarter than me and more versatile with LinkedIn can help. But as you see, I'm trying to post useful stuff for others, and that's how you kind of get visibility. So yeah, that's how you can sell yourself. And go for it. Like, just go for it. Just apply. Maybe you don't have enough experience. Maybe you don't have shiny CV. Maybe you don't have polished portfolio. But just go. And then work, keep building, keep upgrading your CV, keep upgrading your portfolio. My CV was crap, basically. And the the first moment I got that feedback, I already strive to improve it. And I will share. Don't worry, I didn't forget. I'll share the CV in a nice design for CV that I'm gonna be using because mine is pretty much basic. So yeah, just do that. Okay. I hope you found a lot of my comments and insights and analysis helpful. But how can I be even more useful to you guys is by running intensive portfolio building mentorship program. That's what I did from for 2 years for only for Ukrainian game devs. From this February, it's open for everyone. Basically, I was really reluctant to offer it as something that boosts your employability, which is why I was super happy when I saw results from my students. Like, I was so happy that I was actually, being able to help them the way the program promises. It's an 8-week long program, and just in 8 weeks we can establish solid foundation. We'll go over the theory in the sense that it's not about narrative design only. It's about narrative design and game design. How do they complement? This is not a school. I'm not going to teach you storytelling. And as someone said, what to do if we are like super experienced? This is dope shit. Trust me. In the sense that we're going to be looking at how narrative supports gameplay. Then we'll build a narrative design and game design document for a game that we invent. You want to build one day maybe. So basically, once we finish with the program, you have blueprint for your game, and we cherry pick these elements from this document and include them in your portfolio and optimize them for a specific role that you want to. Like, I want AAA studio, I want AA studio, I want indie studio, I want mobile game studio, whatever. And then together we work on this project for 8 weeks, and we turn it into a technical documentation, into a specification document that actually can showcase your skills to communicate, your ideas to the whole production team, which means producer, artist, game designer, devs. Of course, in this program, you're not alone. You're supported by the whole community, but also by your immediate peers, people who are embarking on this journey together with you. So you can get valuable feedbacks. I'll teach you everything I know about the hiring process, and hopefully it was enough for my students to be what they needed to know. Networking, there is a unit about networking, portfolio building, portfolio polishing, and end result, you'll have a super cool portfolio piece and clear path for your ideal role. Emily, oh my god, Emily invented a game. She made it into a technical document, organized it well, and the guy just saw the document and was like, okay, you're hired. I think her CV was not super impressive. Like, she did have some experience, but not like extensive. It was, in her own words, it was just the portfolio, one glance at the portfolio, and it was cool. Nicholas, he's really cool narrative designer, really clear, idea, and he's really a big answer to the question, like, what if I'm already experienced? This guy was experienced. This guy was good, and he had the knowledge and clear idea, and what, not only about how the games are made, but like what good narrative design is. But his confidence was not the best once he lost footing, and especially he was struggling with networking. Now he's doing better, and I'm so proud, so happy, so stoked. Matt, he wanted to kind of go into a bit of QA, try to kind of give up on writing, but he really he was super stoked to discover how he can leverage his own personal superpower, and his superpower was research. He was able to dive deep into the topic, dig a lot of data, and kind of interpret it creatively to to create really vibrant sort of reality, alternate reality narratives. So yeah, how can you sell yourself as a person? That was really happy to hear that he found this in himself. And of course, over the years there were been there were many different. Hey Nad, I think you're here. Wave to you. Um, a lot of people who I worked with. I'm particularly proud of working with Clara because she started collaborating with me by saying, "Don't bullshit me." Like I've been to a lot of writing workshops, a lot of narrative design workshops. I have published novels and games, and like if you don't think you're gonna teach me anything new, just fuck off. And I was like, well, I'm who I am, so you're free to make a judgment for yourself. She did trust me and made amazing games, got employed, of course, and carved her path in the industry. But yeah, she was like, whoa, this is way better than I thought. So yes, a lot of nice words about my work. Uh, because teaching is my passion. Like I worked with more than 100 game writers and narrative designers, even producers, teaching the whole teams. Most proud of my assistance to junior narrative designers to break into the industry. Again, to address the concerns, I'm also helpful for people who want to dive deep into more serious questions. I did the training for the entire team, so I'm really happy that I was able to work with producers who work with writers and raise awareness of what the writer needs to be, how the writer needs to be deployed more in a better way. I was also hired to screen writers to be hired for studios, so I know what they're looking for. And before the industry went to shits, actually I was running a program in such way that whoever finishes mentorship with me can actually get a recommendation and even a gig, if not a job. These times are sadly gone, but all the knowledge about what studio needs is still with me, and I still collaborate with a lot of these small publishers and studios. So yeah, that's what I bring to the table. I'm really happy that a game of my student, which I did narrative architecture for, won last year's CEG Best Narrative. Okay, another, to clarify, I did not write that game. It was done by amazing narrative designer Alexei Kirpan, who did all the heavy lifting, but I was, finally being a plumber in sense of, laying the pipes along with the architecture, participating from day one, and of course they won the award because I was not called when the pipes started leaking, but from the get-go. One of my biggest clients is Star Merge, who started as entrant, and then in 3 years we managed to get them to top 5 on Google Play. Now I think they're number 9, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, by sheer consistency of world building, they managed to have a very good product. I coached episode writers, so they're this mobile kind of player created content, and they had like top writers for episodes, and they worked with me. Each of them had 1 million readers, so I was really happy to hone their skills further. Also, a lot of people I see are part of the E-Realities internship program, Twist Tales. I don't collaborate with them anymore, but I see that for a lot of narrative designers it was a very valuable experience, especially because they create audio games, which are super hard to do narrative design for, and they're really, really cool. They're really, really cool. So yeah, my goal is to keep you motivated. We are in this together. Thanks for the lively chat. So in my program, you'll be getting my feedback during a weekly review session just for you, but then you also can utilize the communal review sessions. You can clearly see the progress you and your peers are making, which is really motivational. You can message me anytime for support. I'm happy to answer all the questions. And we start in less than 10 days, November 24. We start with the week of units. So basically, you have until the end of that week to join us. We're finishing mid-January because we'll have a short Christmas and New Year break. So it's your chance to start the new year with portfolio ready to finally break into the industry. I'm really proud that my program is like lowest costing among all the portfolio building programs I've seen. The price is 500 euros for 8 weeks, no hidden fees, no upsells, nothing. But actually it's not 500. Now we have a discount. If you join us this weekend, it's 20% off. For you guys in dollars, it's this much. So yeah, because I'm supporting people who are struggling and who maybe don't have a chance to cough up the whole sum at once, I also offer installment. So basically, if you pay some at once, I'm covering the processing fees and costs. If not, I just ask for a little extra fee to cover the processing, but otherwise I accept installments. So another bonus for just you guys. This winter I'm gonna launch one-on-one mentorship program because a lot of people wanted to have programs specifically tailored to their needs. I'm addressing those who expressed concerns like this is basic stuff, can we dig deeper? Yes. I'm really happy to have found a lot of people who want not only deeper dive into the questions of narrative design and portfolio building, but like specific needs. For example, a guy who's very sweet and very inspirational for me, he made games by simply writing what feels cool to him, and he reached the spot where he wants to continue building these cool ideas but not sure how to refresh, how to repeat himself, how to stay fresh, how to keep in the loop. And I'm really happy that I can help him, and I'm really happy that I was able to offer this custom tailored program. So it's 4 weeks of core training, which is the basic material that we all start from, and then 4 weeks of super tailored mentorship tailored to lead you where you want to go. And this program is of course, because it's one-on-one, is different price. Again, in dollars it's somewhat different sum. And first 3 members of the group, you guys who join the mentorship program in November, will get free trial of this one-on-one. So you can enjoy not only the full 8 weeks of the mentorship program, but like also you can get this free trial and see how we can boost your skills and boost your core abilities further. So if you want to join, shoot me DM on LinkedIn, or you have my LinkedIn now, and I owe you yeah, this is my LinkedIn. So let's link this first, and then yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn if you didn't already. So yeah, when you ping me, I'll send you a full PDF of the program, like what are the units, what do we cover, how to join, blah blah blah. You can also book extra consultation call, free. I'm yours for 45 minutes. I can, answer all the questions you might have. So this is how you can join. And of course, first 3 to join will have my one-on-one mentorship as bonus. So it's your chance to dive deeper, but also experience what the program is about. Also for me to kind of, check if my ideas are cool. So how much time will the program take? So we have 1 unit and 1 review per week. So it's about 45 minutes for the unit and homework, and about 1.5 hours for reviews. So roughly about 2 hours per week. Not so big time investment. If you cannot join the live calls, the reviews are recorded, shared, so you can also join the Saturday reviews if it fills your schedule better. What if I'm too experienced? Well, it's not about skill level, because I'm not teaching you anything. It's about how to improve your chances of landing a job in the industry, which means we'll be focusing on more portfolio building and portfolio polishing in your case. Even the veterans benefited from this program. If you think you're not experienced enough, again, you'll get comprehensive information and hands-on practice to prepare you to be useful as a narrative designer. If you feel that program will not teach you anything new, you can always prefer the one-on-one mentorship, which is definitely gonna expand and sharpen your existing skills. And can you guarantee that I'll get a job? Well, no one can, but you'll get a lot of support from me, from the community. You'll have much clearer direction. So far, no one had any complaints. Everyone was at least satisfied with what they got, and my students got employed, which for me is the biggest proof. And finally, the bonus stuff! Yay! So I'm sharing you the link. It's a link to folder. You'll find CV and cover letter examples. And you'll have my narrative design portfolio. Now, you'll see it's structured as a pitch because I wanted to present myself as what I am. A systemic thinker, world builder, and hardcore narrative designer. So I structure it to showcase each of my flavors. My narrative design portfolio tells a story. I suggest you don't copy my story, but make it your own. So take this please as a blueprint, as an inspiration, not as a template. I use landscape because a lot more can fit. Even the basic graphics, as you see, my portfolio is not spectacularly graphical designed, but it shows everything I wanted to showcase, everything I wanted to say. It's illustrated and kind of purported there. And of course, I wish you guys to make even better narrative design portfolios than mine is, especially because I have my clients, I have a lot of work, so I wasn't as hard pressed and motivated as you guys are, which is good because I think that this hunger and this fire can make you do better than me. As a teacher, that's always my goal, to give you the gifts and the tools and everything that you can excel. Believe it or not, I still think that in this industry there is a lot of bread for everyone. So just go and do better than me, please. All right. Time for final questions. Is this group program only held once a year? No, the group is running. Every month and a half. This is the only group where you get to experience my mentorship one-on-one as a bonus, and this is an only group which gets discount price. So it's a good opportunity to join. But yeah, if you cannot make it this month. Be on the lookout. We'll do more things. Also, I think this video stays a bit longer on YouTube. I can't promise you how much longer. So keep it real, keep fighting. Let's let's huddle together. Let's come together in the community. It's all I can offer. Yeah, so good luck on your interviews, good luck with your portfolios. Welcome anytime on our Discord, welcome in my LinkedIn DM. I hope you find the bonus materials very helpful and useful. Thank you, Storyteller Dan. Thank you really so much, everyone. Big love for you. Again, if you have questions, shoot or shoot me a DM. Yeah, see you guys in Discord. Until next time. Love you all. Hope it was fun, but also instructional and inspirational. Let's do this. We can do this. Yes. 9. Oh wow, 2 hours. Cool. Cheers, everyone. I'm gonna be here for a little while longer in case you guys have questions, but thank you from the bottom of my heart. It was really great to see you all. Take care. Bye. Bye bye. Thank you. Woohoo! Now I'm a streamer. Woo! Time to get to work. Exactly. Yeah, time to get to work. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm preparing something else. I think it's gonna be amazing. You'll see. Keep in touch. Also, yeah, if you think this was useful, recommend it to someone who couldn't make it today. If we get enough requests, we can do it. We can do this again. All right. As Bugs Bunny would say, that was all, folks. Thank you, and see you on the other side.